Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where it's all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. Discover time-tested strategies and get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Break away from the herd and go for the retirement you dream of. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, back on Personal Pension Radio. Yes, I am the income engineer. This is Kraig Strom. Somebody asked me the other day, it's always confusing, but it is Kraig with a K, Kraigstrom. Somebody asked me that. They're like, where's your website? I said, well, just go to kraigstrom.com. It'll take you right to my LinkedIn page, easy to find. And they asked me how to spell my name again because they just couldn't get the C out of their head. So it is Kraig with a K, Strom. I am broadcasting from the Personal Pension Radio Studio Workshop here in Southern California. Also, personalpensionradio.com, the website is going to be going through some serious changes. So the website is going to be under construction for a while. Now, that means that if you have any questions about episodes, you're looking for any information, show notes, or anything, just email me, Kraig, Kraig, at kraigstrom.com, and I'll go ahead and get right back to you, making sure that get you the information that you're looking for. But personalpensionradio.com is going to be going under some major renovations. So when you go there and all of the links don't work and there's a big under construction sign on the website, you'll know why. If you have any questions, just get to me directly. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. It's always Kraig Strom, and I'm easy to find. Now, Personal Pension Radio, always important just to refresh and remind those of you who are new and those of you who've been with me from the beginning. Really want to make sure that you've got this mantra down pat. I am all about fighting this conventional wisdom about retirement planning, that mainstream thinking that has not worked for people going into retirement. I am all about optimizing retirement income. And the thing is, it just doesn't happen with a product. Once again, I asked another investment person that I met recently, I said, hey, what's the solution to, maximizing retirement income? Sure enough, same tired old mantra. Invest, invest, invest. Diversify your portfolio of investments and this and that and the other thing. It was the same tired thing that was a product-driven approach. Investments, life insurance, 401ks, real estate, annuities, Roth IRAs, none of these things by themselves will actually help you achieve maximum retirement income. You have to have an integrated approach. You've got to have an actual plan that pulls in the benefits of all these things, the good things that play off of each other in an income plan. And this show, I'm all about giving you hope for retirement, because if you have not done so, take my challenge, take my advice. This is one thing I want you to act on. I want you to go do it. Go search Google for a retirement income calculator. One of the easiest to use is Vanguard's Retirement Nest Egg Calculator. Go run your numbers. Find out what the retirement income calculators that are just typical stuff that's been out there for years and doesn't work and doesn't give you a very good picture for retirement. Go run your numbers. Seriously, I am challenging you. Get out there. Find out what these traditional mainstream approach calculators give you for a number. And when you don't like the number, come back to hear me, and I will give you hope for retirement, because with a plan, with a retirement income plan, you can avoid the Wall Street Monte Carlo simulation income plan, because it is not a fun conversation at all. Okay, so there is a challenge in there. Please go find it, Google search it, Retirement Income Calculator. You can search Vanguard for Retirement Nest Egg Calculator. Run your numbers, and then remember, I am here to turn the light back on at your retirement tunnel to make sure that you know there's hope for an actual lifestyle that you'd want to look forward to. All right. Now, the disclosure, as always, I am not an attorney. I am not a CPA. I am a certified financial planner professional. But that doesn't mean you should act on things that you hear on my show as if they were advice for you personally. With the exception of something that I just mentioned a moment ago, go run your own retirement income calculator on one of the 100 different calculators that are essentially the same across the board. They use the same tired old Wall Street system that is failing the retirees today. Go do that. That's good advice. Go do it. That should motivate you. But if you hear something else on my show that you think, wow, that sounds like financial advice that I should go do something about, no. Please don't act on things that you hear on this show, and especially from financial entertainers or people on the radio or TV or on another podcast. Don't act on things as if you just heard financial advice for you and your situation, because that is not the way to go. Meet with a qualified financial planner. I'm going to suggest a certified financial planner, someone who has gone the extra mile to really have the qualifications and the background and the code of ethics and the financial planning process that you're going to need. Now, quick episode today. Well, as best I can, as much as I talk. The first section I want to start with always is watch your step. Watch your step. Last week we talked about this idea that financial advisors should be asking certain questions. They should be asking protection-minded questions and savings and then growth. And so often financial advisors are just jumping right into asset allocation and diversification, and they blow right past such critically important places or aspects like protection, car insurances, home insurance. It's so critical that you have a financial advisor that is starting and helping you build your financial house correctly. You've got to start and build it in the right order. Now, this week, I was listening to a new podcast. Now, it's a new podcast for me. It's not brand new, but it had actually come out just recently, only 2 episodes. I was listening to the Stansberry Investor Hour. Now, Porter Stansberry has actually run the Stansberry newsletter for years. I forget exactly what it's called, but the Stansberry letter is always what I've thought of it as. And he actually recently started a podcast with Buck Sexton, who is a talk radio show guy, AM radio guy, who's on over 100 stations himself. But now Porter Stansberry is somebody that I really appreciate the way he thinks. And somewhere as I was searching for podcast to listen to, something new, this popped up on my feed and really appreciated it, really enjoyed this. Now, I'll have a link to it. Now, of course, I cannot put a link in the show notes because like I said, the website's going to be down. But if you'd like a link to it, you can definitely send me an email, or you can just find it under Stansberry Investor Hour. And Porter Stansberry actually made some comments that I've been thinking about recently, this particular topic. And I've been thinking about these 2 companies in particular. And sure enough, Porter Stansberry was commenting on them. Now, because Porter Stansberry is not a licensed financial planner, financial advisor, regulated and such, he can talk about any companies he wants with just unfettered conversation. Myself, on the other hand, because of my licensing and such, I have to be careful not to be speaking of specific companies and specific investments and things like that. So here's what I'm going to say. The first company that he started talking about is the company with the big smile on the box. All right. It was in the news last week that this particular company hit $1,000 per share on the stock market, right? $1,000 a share, and it was big news. Well, when I heard that, I know some of the background, and I follow some of this, and that company with the big smiley face on the box is not known for being a really profitable company. And I think I said out loud in my truck, I think, that is amazing that company can hit $1,000 a share and really still not be actually making any substantial money. It just blows me away. And that goes to my cautionary tale of be mindful of the hype. Okay. And so Porter Stansberry shared a couple of facts that I was generally familiar with, but he really zeroed in on this. So the Smiley Face Company today, with $1,000 a share, has a market cap, meaning based on investors investing in the company and what they're paying for the stock, has a market cap of $500 billion. One of the largest companies ever to exist. That's amazing. But then he shared this additional detail that, again, I've known generally, but I hadn't really gotten into the specifics. The lifetime total earnings for that company, that big smiley face on the box company, less than $5 billion. Less than $5 billion. You have a company that investors now say is worth $500 billion, but over its lifetime, the company has still earned less than $5 billion. It is now trading at over 100 times its lifetime earnings. I mean, you have to step back. That does not make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. That is investor irrational exuberance, right? That's irrational exuberance. There's nothing there to support that. So what happens? Here's my question, right? What happens when the Smiley Face Company loses access to the free cash that the federal government has basically been pumping into operations like this that fuels expansion? What happens when that free access to cash starts being pulled back, right? I share this not as a prediction. I share this as a cautionary tale. Don't get caught up in the hype, right? So I come back and I compare this to my history, right? So I used to work at the Arkansas retail giant, right? The Arkansas retail giant, now here's the difference, right? So you've got the Smiley Face Company in its entire existence has not broken $5 billion in earnings. Catch that. $5 billion, its entire existence. The Arkansas retail giant, they make about $16 billion every year. They actually have net income of $16 billion a year, right? So the media, the Wall Street press, the media, the advertising, the marketing, everybody gets excited about $1,000 a share, and the market cap is $500 billion, and that's amazing, and it's a great story. But when you look at the Arkansas retail giant, they have, let's say, 11,000 worldwide brick and mortar, technically, distribution centers, right? So what is a retail store for the Arkansas giant? It's essentially a distribution center, right? It's a distribution center that the majority of the population in the United States lives within 10 miles of one of the Arkansas retail giant's distribution centers, right? And it's posted a profit, as far as I can see, every year, right? My point is this: be careful not to get caught up in the hype. I'm not saying that had you invested, now I would jump back and I'd go, oh gosh, hindsight 2020, 2015, wouldn't have been great if I had invested a ton way back when in the Smiley Face Company? Yes, for sure. Absolutely. You could make a ton of money. However, don't get caught up in the hype today. Remember, the fundamentals of this company just, I would have to say, would make me nervous. I mean, gosh, just makes me nervous, right? When you look at the comparisons here, just don't get caught up in the hype. Now, on the listener question. This was last week, We actually talked about, having your trusts and wills and legal documents updated, and whether or not attorneys were just hyping up the need to rewrite documents in order to sell more trusts. And I suggested they're not. You really need to have them updated every 3 to 5 years. Go back and listen to that episode. That's just the last episode. I actually talked about trusts and wills and powers of attorney and just how important it is to have them updated. Now, I also talked about budgeting, and this question came in about budgeting, and a lot of people use free data aggregation tools like mint.com. These are places where you can get all your checking and savings and all of your investment accounts in one place. And I mentioned a program that I use in my firm called eMoney. Now, eMoney, this is something I want you to pay close attention to. I'm going to make this an offer for Personal Pension Radio listeners. All right? I'm going to make this offer. eMoney is usually only available to clients who specifically work with and engage with generally high-level financial firms, investment management, financial planning firms that you're paying some form of a fee or you have some sort of a working relationship with a financial advisory firm. eMoney is, bar none, the best financial aggregation, financial planning, financial testing and strategizing tool. It's amazing. It's just got incredible benefits. I'm going to go into it in more detail in upcoming episodes, but I am going to put this out. If you would like to try eMoney, which again is usually only available if you engage specifically with a financial planner, I'm going to offer Personal Pension Radio listeners the opportunity to use eMoney with no strings attached. If you'd like to try it, it is so far and away the best of it, the best of the best. You're welcome to send me an email at Kraig@kraigstrom.com, and in the subject line, just put eMoney in the subject line, and I'll send you a link so that we can get you set up. We'll need some basic information, and we can get you set up so you can take a look at it. If you have never seen your financial life all in one consolidated place, you just don't know what you're missing. It is so amazing to actually be able to have that kind of connection with your finances. I want everybody to have that. So as part of the conversation last week, I thought of this offer to offer this out to Personal Pension Radio listeners. So remember, send the email, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com, and just in the subject line, just say eMoney, and I'll reply back so we can get you set up. Now, listener question came in. Now, this is actually, this is kind of an off the financial topic question, but it is financial stuff. It's one of the areas that I'm truly passionate about, so I picked it out. It says, Kraig, I saw your shop tour video on YouTube. Now, a few episodes back, I had mentioned that I'd actually done a video walk around of my workshop, the place that I actually broadcast my podcast or record my podcast from. And this person says, I saw your shop tour video on YouTube. Did you really get that for $2,000? Seems a little too good to be true. So I guess I would say signed skeptical, right? So this person wrote in basically questioning whether or not I actually paid only $2,000 for my workshop. Okay. So let me just refresh for you. I actually do have a full-size elementary school classroom, one of those bungalow-style classrooms, portable classrooms, I guess you'd call it, in my backyard as my wood shop. So I have a full-on wood shop in the backyard. It's one of my favorite things. But to give you some context, if you go to Home Depot and you wanted to buy a shed, just a regular shed, a 10-foot by 12-foot shed is $3,000. $3,000 for a shed that's 10 foot by 12 foot. This building that I'm sitting in is 24 feet wide, 40 feet long, fully lit classroom fluorescent lights, air conditioning, all the electrical, double insulated walls, and just as comfortable as can be. I paid $2,000 on Craigslist for this building. Now, full disclosure, I paid $3,000 for delivery. I paid more to deliver the building than the building cost. And then I paid about $1,000 for hookups, and I ran my own electrical cable. It was pretty cool that I, did all the trenching and stuff. I just love that kind of weekend work. I, got it all hooked up and powered up, and I did have most of all of the tools and everything that are in here. So now I just have a great big workshop to put them in. I share this. I shared this because I am a believer in efficiency first. I just want to enjoy life, right? I want to enjoy life, but I have built this habit. Of making sure that I pay attention to the value that I'm getting. That if I can get a good deal, I want to get a good deal. I really enjoy getting a good deal on something, right? So I use technology to find the deal. The moral of the story: the world is a very small place nowadays, and it is right at your fingertips. So I use my iPhone to find this building that I'm in that really truly makes me smile, right? I mean, this is probably one of the happier times that I've ever had when I've been able to get in here and work in my own workshop. And I only wish my dad was alive to see it. It'd be so cool if my dad was able to be here with me. And I found it on Craigslist, not Kraig with a K, Kraig with a C-R-A-I-G, Craigslist. And I found it on my iPhone. So let me just tell you, these are my 4 favorite shopping apps. So I'm going to give you this little tidbit. 4 favorite apps. If you do not have these on your iPhone or your Android phone, go and get them now and check them, use them. Truly, truly helpful. So C plus for Craigslist. It's called C, the letter C plus for Craigslist. That's how I found this building. I started searching for buildings and portable buildings, and I had a search in that app that could be triggered whenever something popped up on Craigslist that fit a certain description. It would alert me. And one day it alerted me, and I made a phone call. And whammo, she says, yes, I think they were selling 10 of them. And she had one left. And I was able to snatch up this building. It was just a phenomenal deal. So C plus for Craigslist. My other favorite app, OfferUp. Offer, O-F-F-E-R, up. OfferUp is a great app on the iPhone. Really cool. Love that. The next one, of course, eBay. I've been an eBay guy forever. Try that for sure. The eBay app is great. I use the eBay app actually just today as well. Amazon. I have the Amazon app on my phone. I use it constantly. I use it all the time. Love the Amazon app. And finally, one that a lot of people don't think of is Facebook Marketplace. The Facebook Marketplace is a community, built inside of Facebook that you can actually sell stuff. So today, actually, I sold a little doggy wheelchair to some nice folks who came out with their little French bulldog who was starting to lose the ability to use his back legs. And they came out and bought this little wheelchair that we had from another family pet. And he got hooked up in that wheelchair and was so excited, but they found it on Facebook Marketplace, and I was able to have, kind of a quasi little garage sale and sell that item. So those are some of my favorite apps, and they really do empower me to find the value, to find the deal, find those things. Don't just pay retail, folks. Don't do that. Nowadays, you don't need to just simply pay retail. Check that thing that you carry around in your purse or your pocket all the time. Get that phone and actually use it for something other than Twitter or Instagram, okay? Now, here's an actual real financial, that was a real financial question, but here's another question that came in. It says, Kraig, I've heard you suggest that people should plan to retire on 100% of pre-retirement income. Well, let me make sure to clarify. I suggest this, I say this. Wall Street teaches that you should plan on retiring on 60%, let's say, or 70% of your pre-retirement income. So what they're saying is that you should plan on taking a 30 to 40% income cut. Why? Why would you want to work so that you could take a 30% cut in your income? Oh, well, because your expenses are going to be so much lower when you retire. Really? My expenses are going to be lower, right? When do you spend more money? On the weekend or during the work week? It's on the weekend, when you have time to go out and spend money and go to the movies and travel and go out to eat, right? Do all those things. You spend more money on the weekend. And if you ultimately do retire or even semi-retire, you've got a heck of a lot more regular days of the week that kind of look like weekends, right? You have more opportunity to spend money on things and doing things, right? So if you've got a retirement plan that is pegging you for a 30 to 40% cut in your retirement, in your income after you retire, that doesn't seem like much of a successful plan to me. The goal that I try and have with my clients is to get as close to 100% of pre-retirement income as possible, right? So that's where this question comes from. So again, it says, Kraig, I've heard you suggest that people should plan to retire on 100% of their pre-retirement income. That sounds great, but my wife and I really don't need that much income when I retire. How does that affect your planning recommendations? Excellent question, okay? There's only 3 things that you personally can do with your money. There's only 3. You can spend it, save it, or invest it. And the final thing that you don't technically do with it is you leave it behind. I mean, you're not around anymore, so whatever's left in the bank account is left behind for legacy, whatever the legacy means. So if you have run the numbers, for example, and your post-retirement income is more than you think you need, great. Congratulations. That's outstanding. That means you either have to spend more, or you're going to save more, or you're going to invest more. So let's talk about that. So if you get into retirement and you have your income needs met and you have additional money in retirement accounts and investment accounts and other places, you have to decide, do you want to risk that money? By that, I mean, do you want to invest it? Do you want to grow that money for the future? And if you do you want to leave it behind a charity? Do you want to leave it behind a family? Do you want to put it in a safe place where you don't have any risk of loss, but you still might have it grow, right? So it sounds like the answer is, if barring something bad doesn't happen, it doesn't sound like you're going to spend all of the income potential that you have. So it really sounds like legacy is the conversation. If you don't need the income, what does your plan look like for transferring what's left to the people and causes you care about, right? If you could, would you want to leave more behind or less? Now, most people say more, but I ask the question further, to who or what? What people, what causes do you choose, right? And then I ask this, just to really set this in your mind. Do you think that the federal government or the state government where the state where you live will manage the money you leave behind better than you would, or better than your family, or better than your charities. I've never heard anybody say, oh, no, the government will manage that money just for, No, nobody ever thinks that the federal government will manage the money better than they would or better than their kids would, right? So if that's the case, what you are describing in your question is a legacy conversation that needs to happen in detail, right? It needs to happen in detail. If you have kids, for example, you've got to start spending more time teaching them about money, teaching them about legacy and about charitable giving, exploring that conversation in detail sooner than later, because if you're going to leave money behind and you're going to leave it behind with no guidance, right? If you don't have a solid education and guidance behind it, it's going to be gone. It's going to be mismanaged. It's not going to be taken care of. There's a lot of responsibility that goes into inheriting money, let alone inheriting it and then giving it to charity, for example. Okay? So from what it sounds like, if you don't need all of the income that is potential, then you start talking about legacy. So I'll give you one quick idea before I go today. So here's an example. I worked with a client recently who retired, and his retirement income numbers are fantastic, according to him and his wife. He's so excited because we actually together over the last several years had put together a really strong retirement income plan where they could retire on way more income than they ever thought that they could have. Now, so much so that they don't need all of the income that is coming in or could come in. They don't need all of that income. So when I ask them, what do you want to do? Do you want to spend more, save more, invest more? Or do you want to build that legacy? That was the key. Tell us more about legacy planning was the next thing that came out of their mouths. Okay. If we take all of the income we could get today, we could actually start putting plans in place to leave a legacy greater than they'd ever imagined. Well, how do we do that? What financial asset can you buy today that leaves an exponentially bigger benefit behind when you die? Well, hopefully a lot of you are out there saying life insurance. Yes, this particular couple, they had more income than they were ever going to need. At least more income was available than they were ever going to need. So what we did is we put a plan systematically in place so that they could create life insurance benefits for their children and their charities. And life insurance in a very simple context here is that we put in $1 and the charity is guaranteed to get $2. We put in $1,000 and the charity is guaranteed to get $2,000. Essentially, we're magnifying the gift and guaranteeing a legacy, in the case of my client and his wife, greater than they ever imagined. They'd never thought that they could create a legacy at the level that we have now put in motion. And they are so excited about it. Their lifestyle is great. They have plenty of income today, but we've started shifting that excess income and unneeded assets from just a standard legacy. So picture this. We leave behind, let's say, a retirement account with $100,000 in it, and the government's going to take a chunk out of it when our kids get it. Let's say that they lose 30% of it, and we leave behind, yay, $70,000. No, it's good. Well, what if we took the $70,000 today, the net, and what if we use that to build a life insurance plan to transfer more money to charity or to our children? So let's say $70,000, and in my example, just keeping it super simple, we have a life insurance policy that guarantees $140,000 income tax-free to our kids, or $140,000 totally tax-free to a charity. Do you see what happened there? We could take a $100,000 taxable account, and what if we could double it? What if we could make it bigger and better and actually leave a legacy that the government can't touch? You see, that's the key. Legacy planning is all about leaving it behind to the people and the causes that you choose. And when I ask this question, would you like to leave more behind or less? Most people say, without a doubt, I want to leave more. A lot of people will say this, though. I want to leave more as long as I don't have to take a cut in my lifestyle today. That's important. That's so important. There's lots of people who talk about legacy planning. If you'll just sacrifice today, we can leave more to the kids or more to charity. I'm not a big fan of that type of planning. That when it's done right, when you position your assets correctly and you use the right asset classes, you can actually have a great lifestyle today and enhance your legacy tomorrow. So, for these folks asking the question, hey, we've got plenty of retirement income, we're not going to need 100% of our pre-retirement income, I would ask, well, if you could still have 100% of your pre-retirement income, what great things could you do? What awesome things could you do today with your family, with legacy planning, with charitable planning, with generational planning? What amazing things could you do while you're alive to be there, to see it, to watch over the development of that plan, right? That's what I would think. Legacy planning, outstanding. I love it. I get excited about that type of planning. So that's going to wrap it up today. Don't forget the free offer, that special offer. E-Money for Personal Pension Radio listeners. E-Money, I'm going to be talking about it over the next several podcasts and reminding everybody, but just send me an email at Kraig@kraigstrom.com, and I will send you a link to E-Money so that you can actually explore it, check it out. It is phenomenal. If you've ever tried mint.com or any of the free budgeting and financial data gathering tools, E-Money just blows them away. It's fantastic. So I'm going to offer that to Personal Pension Radio listeners. Please email me with the subject line E-Money. Check that out. Don't miss the next episode coming up. Always glad that you're here listening to the show. Thanks so much. And please remember, the future belongs to those who take action. Take action. Go check out your retirement income calculator numbers. That's one challenge that I made. Go do it. Find out what Wall Street has in store for you, and then come back and give me a call. Send me an email. I'll let you know what my picture looks like, and I promise you this, it is way better than the Wall Street Monte Carlo option. We'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you are there, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening.
Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.